Hello, brilliant people. So today's question is, what is the difference between your thoughts and your intuition? So your thoughts, we could talk about, your thoughts are sort of like thinking, obviously, but your intuition is more not like knowing. So we could talk about it from that perspective, but I actually want to talk about it in a slightly different perspective, because in many ways, I've talked about this a little bit before, but in many ways, the way most of us actually form our thoughts, most of us are, because of our schooling and maybe our conditioning, most of us think in very much right, wrong terms. So most of our thoughts are around the fact that this is right and that's wrong. And that's the context that we form our thoughts in. We're always looking for, oh yeah, this is a good thing, that's a bad thing. And the problem with those kind of thoughts is that, because we're always looking at them from the point of view, good, bad, right, wrong, whatever, there's an inherent judgment in those kind of thoughts. And unfortunately for our intuition, when our thoughts tend to be that, carry that sort of automatic judgment, then it doesn't really make it easy for us to be in that space of open acceptance that really encourages our intuition. And so that kind of thinking, without realizing it, can really stifle our intuition. So in that sense, our thoughts can be a little problematic. However, that doesn't mean that right-wrong thinking doesn't have any use. Of course it does. A lot of our right-wrong thinking has created all the amazing technology that we've got. Because most of this technology, the right-wrong thinking is what most of our science has been based on. They formulate an idea and then they test it to see if it's right or it's wrong. So it's called reductionist science or experiments. But so right-wrong thinking is really useful. But it's mostly useful for exactly that, for checking, like, okay, is this a book, or, is it a table? You can do things to check which idea is right or wrong. So that's what thoughts generally, for most people, that's what their thoughts are. It's in this right-wrong framework. And so it can certainly help you know, well, I'm dealing with these things. But intuition will tell you how to put those things together, or the pattern-based thinking or systems thinking, that is more kind of like the kind of thinking that goes with intuition. So systems thinking is not so much right and wrong. It's more like, okay, that's what I want to do. Because a basic system has the endpoint that you're after, a way to know if you're on track for that or not, and a way to correct if you get off track. The example I often use is, think of the thermostat in the air conditioner. So the temperature that you put into the air conditioner, that's the set point, and then the air conditioner itself has a way to know if the temperature in the room has gone above that or gone below that, the set temperature. And the air conditioner will turn itself off and on in order to sort of keep correcting towards the set point. Well, that's how our intuition works. So it's not really judging things. It is judging things, but it's judging things as to whether or not, okay, am I off track or on track? It's not about whether something is right or wrong. And the that's really demonstrated by what happens when we make a mistake. If we make a mistake and we have right-wrong thinking, we tend to beat the stuffing out of ourselves for getting it wrong. And then we feel completely miserable. But when we have systems thinking and we make a mistake, we will judge it, but we'll just judge it as like, oh, that's off track. Right, I need to get back on track. So in fact, it helps us to stop beating ourselves up, because we realize that if we're going to stop and beat ourselves up, it just means that we're going to be wasting time that we could be using to correct and get back on track. So that's one of the reasons why with systems thinking, it helps us just be much more open to everything. Because with systems thinking, we're really just looking for information as to whether we're on track or not. It's like, it doesn't matter what the information is, because the information's all useful. It just tells us, yeah, we've got to go a bit more this way, or we've got to go a bit more that way. It's like, whatever, we just need to know how to keep on track. Because intuition is all about taking us to places that we've never been before. How to live in alignment with our true self, how to live in alignment with our own, with our own essence, our own core, our own pattern. And so again, the systems thinking, we're always resetting ourselves to that. So our thoughts, it's got more to do with how you formulate your thoughts, whether your thoughts tend to be more based on this sort of right-wrong thinking, which has its uses, but tends to make us less open to what's going on around us, or to, possibly intuitions, if our intuitions try to tell us something that we would think is maybe wrong, versus systems thinking, which helps us be really open. And that includes being open to our intuition, even some of the things that come in from our intuition that might seem to be a little bit, the sort of thing that some people might call a bit crazy or daft or something. But with systems thinking, we can still be open to all the craziness, because as long, if it's useful, who cares if it's crazy? If it helps us get more on track, it's going to help us get to where we want to go with more grace and ease. So, Lao Tzu supposedly said once, if it's stupid but it works, it's not stupid, which is, in some ways, perhaps we can apply that to intuition. But certainly we need to have that openness in order for our intuition to actually be able to work at its most effective, because otherwise we're not going to be listening to things that our intuition is telling us if we've already decided it's wrong. And so that's why it's not thoughts versus intuition. It's the way we think that can either support our intuition or kind of get in the way of it. So that may not be the answer that you're expecting, but I hope that helps you, and I hope that helps you develop your intuition more, so that you can remember that you're brilliant.